The story begins with Archimedes, born around 287 BC in Syracuse, a Greek city on the island of Sicily. He became one of history's greatest mathematicians and engineers. He studied circles, levers, floating objects, balance, and the strange idea of infinity. Yet many of his writings disappeared after the ancient world faded. Centuries later, around the 10th century, an unknown scribe in Constantinople carefully copied several of Archimedes' works onto parchment. Every line was written by hand. The pages preserved ideas that could not be found anywhere else, including a work called The Method of Mechanical Theorems, in which Archimedes explained how he used physical balance and geometry to discover mathematical truths. But parchment was expensive. A single book required the skins of many animals. In the early 13th century, someone decided that the old mathematical writing was no longer useful. The pages were taken apart, scraped, washed, rotated, and folded. New words were written across the faint Greek letters. The lost science of Archimedes became a Christian prayer book. The new manuscript was completed in Jerusalem on April 14, 1229, by a scribe named Johannes Myronus. For hundreds of years, worshippers and monks could see the prayers, but almost no one noticed the older lines running beneath them in another direction. Then, in 1906, Danish scholar Johann Ludvig Heiberg traveled to Constantinople. He had seen a catalogue describing traces of mathematics inside an old religious book. When he opened its worn pages, he recognized the language of Archimedes. Using only his eyes, a magnifying glass, and photographs, Heiberg copied as much of the hidden writing as he could. The extraordinary discovery: beneath the prayers was the only surviving copy of the method. There was also the Stomachion, a study involving 14 geometric pieces that could be arranged into a square in thousands of different ways. The manuscript even preserved the only surviving Greek version of Archimedes on floating bodies. But the book vanished again during the troubled years after the First World War. It passed through private hands, suffered water and mold damage, and was partly covered by painted religious images that were later shown to be modern forgeries. When it appeared at an auction in New York in 1998, an anonymous buyer paid about $2 million for it and placed it in the care of the Walters Art Museum in Baltimore. The manuscript was almost falling apart. Conservators spent years separating its fragile pages and repairing tiny pieces of parchment. Then scientists used infrared, ultraviolet, and visible light to separate the erased writing from the prayers above it. Some pages remained impossible to read because paint covered the ancient ink. In 2005, researchers took selected leaves to the Stanford synchrotron radiation light source in California. A narrow X-ray beam detected traces of iron inside the original ink. Slowly, point by point, letters written 1,000 years earlier appeared on computer screens. The hidden book revealed more than mathematics. Researchers also found speeches by the ancient Athenian orator Hyperides and a unique commentary on Aristotle. A prayer book became a small lost library. And the mystery is still not finished. In March 2026, Sorbonne University announced that researcher Victor Geisenberg had identified a missing page in the Museum of Fine Arts in Blois, France. By comparing it with Heiberg's photographs from 1906, he confirmed that it was page 123 of the Archimedes palimpsest. The leaf contains part of On the Sphere and the Cylinder, while more writing remains hidden beneath a later painted image. 2 other missing pages have still not been found. The secret of this manuscript was not gold, a royal confession, or a forbidden prophecy. It was something more powerful, the survival of human thought. Words were scraped away, buried beneath prayers, damaged, scattered, and forgotten, yet they continued to wait. The Archimedes palimpsest reminds us that history is not always lost forever. Sometimes it is still there, written beneath the surface, waiting for the right light. If you enjoy stories like this, please follow for more hidden history and untold stories from around the world.